So I've come up with a new method of teaching the swing, and I think it's a lot more intrinsic and it makes a lot more sense and it eliminates a lot of the confusion. The way that people would teach the swing, well, they still currently teach it this way, but where I feel like they go wrong is they go right into trying to teach the hinge, and they'll do this, you know, putting the hands in the folds, and they're teaching the hinge, but they're really getting away from teaching the fundamental movement of the swing, which is actually the swing. And what is a swing? If we look in the dictionary, a swing is an object that can move backwards and forwards or side to side while suspended in the air or hanging from an axis. And so this method teaches the swing first and then the hinge, because the hinge should just be a function of the arm coming into the body and the body being forced to hinge to allow that kettlebell to come behind them. So you'll need a light to medium kettlebell. I've got a 12 kilo here. You want to stand with your feet together because this kettlebell is going to be swinging on the outside of your body. This is the big difference right off the bat. So the kettlebell is going to swing on the outside of your body, so your feet are going to be together to allow room for that to happen. I want that kettlebell to be on the outside of your right foot. And that kettlebell should be between your heel and your toe. That's going to be in alignment with your center of mass. That's going to be important throughout your kettlebell training. You're going to sit down like you're sitting in a chair, keeping that lumbar nice and flat, your shoulders square. And then you're going to pick that kettlebell up with what we call a hook grip. And this hook grip is just your 4 fingers that hook around that kettlebell with your palm open. You're not even really using that thumb. This grip has the best balance of strength, endurance, and joint mobility. That's going to protect your elbow from developing tendinitis, which is caused by over gripping while incorporating rotation. That causes tendinitis in that elbow, and we want to avoid that like the plague. So once you've picked that kettlebell up and you're standing fully upright, and that weight is just hanging at your side in alignment with your center of mass, you're just going to rock back and forth, and then you want to time that rocking or counterbalancing in direct opposition to that kettlebell swing. So as that kettlebell comes forward, you move backwards, and as the kettlebell goes backwards, you move forward. And then in order to get it to come up higher, you're going to begin pumping those legs. So as that kettlebell approaches the ground, you're going to pump those legs, and as the kettlebell comes up in the front swing and the back swing, you want those hips to come up. So as the kettlebell comes up in the front, the hips come up, and as the kettlebell comes towards your body, you drop, and then as the kettlebell goes up in the back swing, your hips come up. The hips come up in the back, and they come up in the front. This is otherwise known as a double knee bend. And because the bell is swinging on the outside of the body, I don't have to worry that I'm bending over too soon. It just comes naturally. And you'll also want to begin keeping that kettlebell close to the body in that front swing. This allows you to let go of the handle and allow that bell to float. This is going to give you much needed rest when you're doing a lot of repetitions, and it's also going to make other more technical exercises like the clean in this snatch possible. So once you've mastered this, let the bell come to rest beside you, set it down, and then I want you to practice on your left side. Once you've mastered it on both sides, now we're going to learn how to start that swing from the floor. You're going to set that kettlebell 12 to 18 inches in front of you. You're going to reach out, the kettlebell's at arm's length here, and then we're going to start by swinging it back. We want to swing it backwards and let your free arm shadow the kettlebell on the outside of your body. So I'm going to swing it back, and as I swing it back and it wants to come forward, I'm going to stand up, and now we're swinging again. And when you're ready to stop, you're going to sit down and park that kettlebell right back where you picked it up, like so. I want you to practice that on both your right hand and your left hand. And when you can do it flawlessly on both sides, then we're going to step out a bit wider. but just wide enough to pass this kettlebell between the highest point in your legs without touching. You don't want to go too wide because I want you to be as tall as possible while doing this. And now you're going to grab the kettlebell with that thumbs forward grip again. And now you're sitting down in that chair again, but you're much wider. Make sure when you bend your knees that your knees track your toes. Starting with that right hand, you're going to hike it back the same way. You just want to make sure that you keep that wrist high at groin level. You don't want the wrist to be down by the knees. You want the wrist to always be at about groin height when it goes between those legs. Have the free hand on the outside of the body. It's still going to shadow that kettlebell on the outside of your body. When you're ready to go, you're going to hike it back, stand up with it. Once that arm comes in contact with the body, that's when you can begin that hinge. But the movement is the same. The hips come up in the front swing, they come up in that back swing. You're floating that kettlebell in front of you, practicing letting go as that bell flies in front of you, and that free hand shadows that kettlebell on the outside of the body. When you're done with the swings on your right hand, you're gonna park it right back where you picked it up. Absorb with the body, park it right in front of you. When you're proficient on both sides, now you can try the two-handed swing. I know this is totally opposite. Most people want to start with the two-hand swing, but the two-hand swing actually requires more mobility and more timing than a single-hand swing. So now we're ready for that two-hand swing. We're going to turn that handle 90 degrees here. Same stance because the bell has not changed size. Nice athletic stance, hips back, lumbar flat. We're going to start by swinging that kettlebell nice and high between the legs, standing up as that bell comes forward, and still keeping the bell close to the body. Elbows are slightly bent. I can let go of the bell here, and this will be crucial for all those more technical exercises that you're going to learn soon. When I'm ready to stop, I'm going to sit down right back where I picked it up. A couple of points to remember. Your body's always moving in direct opposition. As that bell comes into your body, you want to wait until you get arm-body contact. Keep the bell high between the legs and then fold at the hips and perform that hip hinge to allow the bell to go behind you. And then as the bell comes forward, you want to stand up and bring that kettlebell up. I hope this has been helpful. If you want to learn more, if you want to really dive deep into kettlebell training, I recommend you check us out at prokettlebell.com. Thanks a lot. Bye.